This year, no one advise nobody, advise yourself. I have seen a snippet on the internet where Highest Eri is being dragged for a submission she made on the misconduct of the student teacher issue in the science lab where they were having an affair, right?
With the bully something, I was talking to PK this morning. I was like, people are really talking about the video. I'm just bringing this in to build my point. But I've not even seen it because with the kind of comments I was reading and seeing, people were saying, and you could tell that it wasn't even the first time they've been doing it. And the fact that, you know, so when I saw it and I saw the story you did where you were blaming the teacher from 1 to 100, Scanty, fair enough. Let's talk about this particular one, Destiny or whatever. Yes, the teacher is 100% wrong. But I would not sit here and say I am blaming just the teacher. Because, listen, Scanty, I am not sure any teacher would come to a classroom or come to your dormitory or whatever, how you people call it, and come drag you from your room that I want you to follow me to my room.
And I see people dragging her up and down. But before I start, I want those ladies, most of them dragging her, to understand that, you see, when we are trying, me especially, and some few, trying to do away with gender war, right? Some of you come under the post and be like, their body, their choice, it's their opinion, and think about yourself. If you don't mind, pass. You see, when it got to this issue, most of you have gotten sense that takes on issue affects the society as a whole. Now everyone is sensible. That's why I say most of these people online preaching gender war, directly and indirectly, have to heal from whatever that caused that thing. Because the same effect you think what she's saying will have on the society or on minors as a whole is the same effect. Those things you are following because of selfish reasons, right, will affect the society as a whole. In Ghana, punishment exists because there are laws. And teachers have their own code of conduct, right? And students also have their own code of conduct. So if there are code of conduct, or if there are codes of conduct, there has to be a punishment to it. So if there are teachers' code of conduct, there are student code of conduct. That's why the teacher is facing what he's facing, or the punishment will be facing because of the code of conduct that was given to him. Students also have their code of conduct, and it was given to them. So if they go against it, they have to be punished for it to be served as a lesson to the other students. This is just simple. I don't know how to explain this to you again. So let's go through the code of conduct and let's see what we can make out of it. And I read. This is some research I have made for myself, right? So I have to read to you to understand. And I start with teacher's code of conduct. A teacher must never engage in a sexual or a romantic relationship with a student. Never make any sexual advances, request, or comment to a student. Maintain professional boundaries at all times. Protect the welfare, safety, and dignity of students. Report inappropriate behavior through the proper channels. I go again. Never engage in a sexual or romantic relationship with a student. Never make sexual advances, request, or comment to a student. Maintain professional boundaries at all times. Protect the welfare, safety, and dignity of students. Report inappropriate behaviors through the proper channels. The Ghana Education Service, GES, has repeatedly stated that there is nothing like a consensual sexual affair between a teacher and a student under its code of conduct. Such relationships are considered professional misconduct and can lead to interdictions, dismissals, loss of professional standing, and possibly legal consequences, which clearly this teacher will face whatever I've stated here. Any of them, they will face it because they've gone against the code of conduct. Let's move to the students. Students are expected to respect school rules and teacher-student boundaries. Avoid conduct that violates school regulations. Report inappropriate behaviors by teachers or staffs. Treat teachers and fellow students with respect. I read again. Respect school rules and teacher-student boundaries. Avoid conduct that violates school regulations. Report inappropriate behaviors by teachers or staff. Treat teachers and fellow students with respect. I hope you get it. So this is your code of conduct. And if you go against that, you must be punished to serve as a lesson to others. This is just simple. Now, I continue reading. The key difference between these two I have just read is that the teacher carries the greater responsibility because the teacher holds authority, influence, and a duty of care over the student. GES maintains a zero tolerance policy towards amorous or sexual relationship between teachers and students. So the summary of or the conclusion we are coming at with all these things I have read is that under the GES Code of Conduct, a teacher-student sexual relationship is prohibited. The responsibility lies primarily with the teacher because they hold authority and a professional duty of care over the student. GES does not recognize such relationship as consensual affair between a teacher and a student. So yes, the teacher has to be blamed the most. The teacher carries absolute authority. That is why in a society, when someone connives with a traditional leader and they go and sell a land or they go and do an illegal business with the property of the society, the leader in this, which is the king, chief, or who, is blamed the most because he had the authority to stop that guy who he connived with. It doesn't mean that guy has a sense of his own, but he had the authority to stop that. But he didn't. So he has to be blamed. The chief or king has to be blamed. It doesn't mean that the laws or the punishment that will come, the person who connived with the king wouldn't get his part of the punishment, but the king has to be blamed. So even though the teacher has to be fully blamed, right? Even though the teacher has to be fully blamed, the student as well has to be punished to serve as a lesson to the others. So I think I think sometimes it is how you present or lay your information out there. And already you have people that hate you or are against you. So they can twist words just to shame you or drag you. But I think all she's saying is that, yes, the teacher has to be blamed, but the students also have to be punished for that. And it is true. This is not time for blame games. This is time to set things straight and punish people for their misconduct. Because in your GES Code of Conduct, it states clearly that you can report. It will be better for you to report and lose your job than to accept whatever is going on and get a disgrace. This year, no one advise, nobody advise yourself. I'm out.